What's going on, everybody? This is Little Big 12 Media Days, as I'm going to call this. We have a lot of questions about this upcoming season as we transition from a traditional redraft league to a keeper format. So I'm going to be talking about some rules, some nitty gritty. Here in the next couple days, I will adjust the league constitution so that way everybody has a copy of that. I will send that via Slack, and I will also, I'll watch my stuff there, send that via email so that way everybody gets it. We have no excuses for this upcoming year. I'm just walking around the backyard. Figured it'd be better than to do this video inside. Kids sleeping, don't want to wake them up. So I'm not going to go through every bullet point of the Constitution. I think that would be redundant and pointless. But rather some of the real granular fine details of some new things that we got coming up, okay? So let's talk about keepers. You're going to technically have four. Got to make sure the fingers are in the frame. That's video 101, Ethan. So 4 keepers. 3 of them will be yours. 1 of them will be in the transfer portal. Now, on Fantrax, there won't be like a distinction between them. So if you go to like the team tab, and it should have like team roster and a few other options, and there should be like keeper admin as one of them. Click on that, and that's where you select your keepers. Okay, and you're going to select 4. And it's going to be by Independence Day, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all of our East Coast affiliates. We will make sure to get that taken care of right before midnight East Coast time. That's when you need to have all 4 of your keepers. Your keepers, this is important, your keepers can be anybody, okay? This is an important distinction from the transfer portal. The transfer portal can only be a quarterback, a running back, or a receiver. But your keepers can be anybody. So you can technically keep a kicker or a defense if you truly want to. I don't know why you would, but if you want to, or if you feel like you have to, looking at you, Adam, then you can keep a kicker. However, you cannot put that kicker or that defense or that tight end. Tight ends are not transfer portal eligible. You can't put any of those positions in the transfer portal. So you're going to have those 4 ironed out. And if you need to get to 4, you can make trades. We got draft picks for this year and next year. I see that Patrick and Pierce have already made a blockbuster trade. One of the best quarterbacks in college football, Trevor Lawrence, getting traded for picks. And let me explain the draft pick trading to everybody one time, because I think there's a little bit of confusion, and I understand. It is kind of confusing because Fantrax hasn't really... If there were a better platform than Fantrax, honestly, we'd go there. ESPN doesn't do it. May look into Yahoo in the future. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Fantrax. Everything is too scattered out. It's very customizable. I think there's a lot of control, but not everything's succinct. Not everything's in one place. The fact that I don't know what team belongs to what owner, and I can't really look at that on the team page, is very frustrating. Okay, but let me explain draft pick trading. This is actually a very important concept. Okay, you cannot have more than the allotted amount. So there's 17 rounds in our draft. There's 16 players that you will be able to keep total, like after the main draft, 16. So that's 1 extra round than picks. And the reason for that is for the transfer portal supplemental draft that we voted upon as a league to do. What this means is you'll have 1 extra round than pick, and the first 4 rounds are technically designated for your keepers. So rounds 1 through 4 traditionally are already booked. So in the trade, for instance, for example, Patrick and Pierce. Patrick gave up a 2019 5th round pick. However, technically speaking, the 5th round is the first round of the regular draft. Okay, so he gave up the highest possible pick that he could in this year's draft because he's going to have his 4 keepers, right? His 3 that he kept plus the 1 that he gets from the transfer portal. And then he's going to have the 5th round go to Pierce. And then he also traded a 2020 7th round pick, but a 7th round pick is technically a 3rd round pick. So you're going to have to kind of figure that out and keep track of that. That is your responsibility as a owner of a team. It's pretty self-explanatory. 5th round equals round 1, 6th round equals round 2, so on and so forth. The first 4 rounds are booked for your keepers, okay? If for some reason Fantrax screws us on that, I will manually fix it, okay? I have some faith in Fantrax, but admittedly not enough faith for it to be executed. But know that that is the rule, okay? And if it for some reason screws up, I will make sure that it gets fixed, okay? You have my word. As commissioner, I'll make sure that it goes smoothly. Okay. This is important now because you can't have 23 picks, okay? You can't do it. So Patrick and Pierce, great job on the trade. I'm going to have to cancel it. Here's why. You can only have the same amount of picks as everybody else. So Pierce, what I would recommend doing, and you can negotiate this with Patrick, is trade some lower end picks. So Patrick's giving you the pick upgrade. He's giving you a 5th round pick, which we've already distinguished as a 1st round pick. Give him like a 13th round pick for this year and a 17th or 16th round pick. Just give him a 16th round pick or something like that for next year. Okay, that way you guys have the same amount of picks each year. Okay, you have the same amount of picks each year, and you guys can go ahead and do that. That's what we want to do because we want to have 16 players. We want to have 16 picks, 17 rounds to do it. Okay. So you're going to have 4 keepers, 3 of them yours, 1 of them the transfer portal. And I'm basing this off of a little bit of faith and a little bit of the spirit of the game. Okay. I can't help it if this happens, but I don't want this to happen. Okay. I don't want people to put absolute crap on the transfer portal. Okay, I get it. Like, half the people that are entering the transfer portal in real life aren't starting for the college that they're transferring from. So it's kind of funny. Like, oh, I'm putting in this, like, 3rd string running back from Georgia Tech who's never going to see the field. And it'll be funny. Somebody's going to end up with him. Ha, ha, ha. No, don't do that. Okay, make sure it's a decent player. It doesn't have to be a great player. It doesn't have to be, like, a tier 1 or tier 2 great player. I've got a couple options that I'm going to put in there. I think Kylan Hill is probably the guy I'm going to throw in the transfer portal. He's a junior out of Mississippi State, averaged about 15 points a game, right? He's going to be a guy that I put in there, or maybe Reggie Corbin, who's a running back out of Northwestern, I believe. Starting running back, he's a senior, averaged about 16, 17 points a game. None of those guys are great, right? But they're good enough, and they could help somebody. Maybe somebody with running back depth issues might take a guy like that. And I think the market will balance itself out as well. You don't have to pay like a massive premium for those guys. Now, if you want to go ahead and throw in a guy, maybe you're loaded with keepers or keeper quality type players, and you want to throw in a guy into the transfer portal thinking maybe I have a shot to get him in this supplemental draft, and I can just go about doing that. And then basically the 4 guys that I designated for keepers on July 4th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe those 4 guys that I kept are the 4 guys that start my team by the time we start the main draft. Okay? Just know that everybody's going to have a shot for that guy, but that is a possibility. That is something that could happen. Okay? For instance, let me give you a hypothetical. Let me say like I put Kylan Hill, since I already used his name. Let me say I decide I want to put Kylan Hill in the transfer portal. And I kind of like Kylan Hill. Let's say I do that. Well, maybe I will bid for Kylan Hill, and maybe I get the bid. Maybe I win. So Kylan Hill's back on my team. I just give up a pick for that, and we're good. So let's explain the transfer portal here. This is how it's going to work out. And this is how it's going to work out first year, no ifs, ands, or buts. If we don't like it, we'll adjust it second year. Okay? I'm willing to adjust things. If I see owners throwing in crap, except for Hazen. Like, Hazen's team's complete crap, right? He's got all those Liberty and New Mexico State players. He's got to throw somebody in there. As long as he throws in a quarterback, running back, or receiver, then he's done his job. We can't really control that. But if I see that we're just going to throw in complete crap, just so that way we kind of skunk other teams, then by executive order, I'll create some sort of point threshold or some sort of metric that you can only throw in a quarterback, running back, or receiver, and they have to rank in the top X amount of percentage or top 20, 30, whatever it is in order to be transfer portal eligible. That's what I'm going to do. So don't abuse the system. Let's have fun with it. It works if everybody participates and is kind of along the same page that we're not going to throw in the best players. Maybe. We might. But we don't have to throw in complete dog crap either. So the transfer portal. Let's talk about the ins and outs of the transfer portal. So I'm going to create a list. Everybody's going to tell me who they designate for transfer portal, right? You're going to tell me that fourth guy, and then I'm going to print out a list. Not print out a list. I'm going to type out a list and put it on Slack, email it to everybody as well. I'm going to get out that list so that way everybody kind of has an idea of who's on the market and how you want to strategize, how you want to get that pick out there. So let's say you throw in your guy, you want to get him, you have to wait till he's nominated. So how the nomination process is going to work. Since Colin won the league, I haven't talked to Colin about this. What's up, Colin? How you doing, buddy? Since Colin won the league last year, Colin will get to nominate the first player in the transfer portal. It could be his player. It could be any of the 12. It doesn't have to be his, but it can be his. He is going to nominate a player. And let me back up real fast. I'm going to message each and every one of you. I'm going to hit you on Slack. I'm going to hit you on email. I'm going to call you potentially or message you. One, catch up for a few minutes, see how you're doing. But we need a date where we can all be kind of around our phone, even if it's somewhat passively, so that way this works. Because the transfer portal draft doesn't have to be done in one day, but I don't want it to be done like in a month either. It can be done over a weekend. It can be done over a few hours. It can be done whatever. Because Fantrax is not going to have like a draft. This is all going to be done on Slack. It's all going to be done manually. So I'm going to hit everybody up and see like, hey, when is the best date that you can do this? When can you be available? And I know it's a lot of work, right? I know that it's a commitment. It's a little bit more taxing. I don't want you to be scared. I know we have a lot of people in academia fields. I know we have people that maybe are moving, starting new jobs, in intensive jobs already. I get that. Like, believe me, I get that. I started a new job in April, right? And I'm still figuring out the ropes to it in a lot of ways. Love my job, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's a great job. Maybe you're in that kind of boat too. Maybe you're starting a new career path. Maybe you just got done with school. Maybe you're still in school. Maybe you're going for that 18th PhD, whatever, man. And that's great. I'm happy for you. This is going to take a little bit more time than the original format, okay? But I don't want you to get scared of it. The last thing I want to have happen, because I love all of you guys. You guys are incredible friends. There's a reason that this group exists. It's not only to create some fun, have some competition, but it's to keep in touch with one another. And this is, I think, the best way for me to do that. That's the best way for, I think, a lot of us to do that. It's just if we're competing and just having a good time. Where some of us, a lot of us, most of us are athletes. A lot of us love football, love sports. This is just a great bonding tool, okay? So the last thing I want is to be like, man, I did not sign up for this. This is way too complicated for me. I'm out. If you think it's way too complicated, if you think you're going to have concerns about it, come talk to me. As your commissioner, I want to make this as painless as possible for you, right? I want to make sure that you're having a good time. I want to make sure that you are enjoying yourself and that you have time to do it. If that means that, you got to come call me or something and be like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make my roster moves or something or whatever, just come talk to me. We'll work something out, man. We'll work something out. Hey, there's my wife. There's Emily.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going? You taking off?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool deal.
Bye all.
Bye. What time are you going to be back?
I don't know.
Okay, great. Is he still asleep? Great.
No. We just woke up.
Okay. We'll have to go inside. He just woke up. That's the answer I get a lot is, she don't know when she's going to be back. She has a second job, so she usually goes and does that in the evening. That's Emily. She's doing well. Cole's doing well. Hey, I take him to the chiropractor today, which was really weird. I didn't know you could take toddlers to the chiropractor until, like, a week ago. Oh, yep, I hear him. But I take him to the chiropractor today. He's been getting a lot of ear infections. So, transfer portal. That's where I was. Okay, actually, you guys see this kitty. He's adorable.
He's not happy.
He's not happy? Why are you not happy? Oh, he's shy.
Where'd he go?
He's shy. I'm gonna pause the video real quick and take care of my boy. I will be right back. Okay, so you know how the commissioner of the NBA, you know how it's Adam Silver, right? He does all the important stuff. But then during the NBA draft lottery, they always have the number 2 in command do all the work for that event on ESPN. Well, a little co-commissioner right here wanted to get in on the video, so he just wanted to get up. He's still a little grumpy, but he just woke up from his nap, I think a little bit prematurely, but he can go back down to sleep. I might pause the video a couple more times if he is still a little frustrated, but I think he really likes that truck toy. And he's got these like little balls that you put into it, put it in the dump truck, throw it out, and he just do it again. He finds that entertaining. Sometimes he'll throw the balls. He's got a mean fastball, so I've been training him really good on that, fastballs and sliders, for days. So he's got a pretty good arsenal already for a 1-year-old. We might sign him up for some pitching lessons here soon. But, yeah, so I guess that's just a perfect example of life happening. That's my son. His name's Cole, in case you haven't seen him. Some of you already have. But, you know, things happen. We're busy. I understand. I don't want you to feel overly pressed. This isn't life or death. But, I mean, there will be a little bit of time committed to it. But I don't want you to be scared of that. You know, come talk to me. And, we'll work something out, or I'll help you out any way I can. Just tell me what you need, and we'll see what we can do. I want to talk about the transfer portal. So, when I last left off, we had Colin. Since he won the league, he's going to nominate the first player, and it can be any of those 12. It can be his own player. It can be somebody else. He's going to nominate a player. Okay, at that point, I'm going to be on my phone watching this once it starts. At that point, I'm going to tell everybody pretty much whether I'm going to make a bid or not. And if I say I'm not making a bid, then everybody sends their bid to me. Just send me a private message through Slack. And then I'll tally up the bids. And basically what I'm going to do, the reason why this is important that you're on your phone, is I'm just going to kind of give like an arbitrary amount of time. It might be 10, 15 minutes. I might tag you on the general thread. I might send you a personal message. I might text you, be like, hey, so-and-so's on the block. Are you going to make a bid or not? And if I don't hear anything back, I got to move on. Or if you say no, then okay, great. But once I get all the bids, I'll sort through them. Whoever wins the bid gets that player. So let's say wide receiver X from Iowa is the player that Colin nominates. I don't even know who that would be. I don't know Iowa's wide receiver depth chart right off the top of my head. So he's player X. Let's say player X available. Wide receiver from Iowa. Nate Stanley is going to be dropping dimes to him all season long. So I'm not going to make a bid for him, but maybe 3 or 4 people are. Not everybody has to make a bid. You don't have to. If you don't want to bid, don't bid. But 3 or 4 people are going to make a bid. And it's at that point, I'm going to tally up the bids. You're going to submit a bid. And this is important. This goes back to the 5th round is technically the first round. You're going to submit to me the overall round. Okay? So it's important whenever you mean 5th round, you mean the 5th overall round, which is the first round, technically speaking, of the draft. So don't give me a first-round pick. So don't message me on Slack and say, I'm going to give you my first-round pick. No, you cannot give me your first-round pick. If you send me a bid that says picks 1 through 4, I'm going to send you a second-round pick, third, fourth, first-round pick, whatever. I'm not going to count it. That's a lost bid. You done messed up. You did not win that. It's got to be 5th to 17. Okay? But understand, if you submit 5, I'm not going to bug you and be like, now, do you mean your first or do you mean the 5th round of the draft? which if we did the chart, right, 5 to 1, 6 to 2, 7 to 3, 8 to 4, 9 to 5 would be the 9th round, right? Maybe you meant 9th round overall, but you said, yeah, I just want my 5th round. Well, if you submit 5, I'm going to take your 5th round pick. And the first 4 rounds are already designated for keepers, so I'm going to take that 5th rounder. So now you've got 4 players through the first 5 rounds. You're not picking until the 6th round, which is technically our 2nd overall round. Again, I understand it's kind of confusing because it's not going to be clearly labeled, but I trust you to understand that that's just how the tiering's going to work. So whenever you submit a bid to me, submit it as such. Okay? If you want to submit the overall bid, just think of it in terms of overall, right? Like, I'm going to submit my 9th overall round. Iowa wide receiver is worth a 9th overall grade. That may or may not win it. I don't know. We'll see how the market dictates it. He's a little upset. He's okay. He's just still grumpy. It's okay, bud. You're so tired. Co-Commissioner Cole is letting his opinions be known about the round modifications. Aww. Okay, you want the ball? You want this? Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna pause it again. Alright, we're back. That one was quicker. He just wanted his toys to work. So, just understand that that's how it's going to be tiered. Alright, so you're going to submit the bid to me. I'll be fair. As your commissioner, have some faith and trust in me that I will divvy the reward to the highest bid. Okay? Whoever wins that bid will then nominate the next player. So let's say Hazen gives up a 8th overall round, which if we looked at the tiering system, 5, 6, 7, 8 as the 4th round in the actual draft, but 8th overall round. Let's say he wins the bid. Hazen's going to nominate a player. Hazen's going to be done at that point, because you only get 1 player through your transfer portal. You can't hoard all the transfer player or portal players. You can't do it. So it's as simple as he drafted, he won, he nominated a player. Hazen can go, hang out at the lake with his wife. He can go cook some steaks on the grill. He can go get errands done. He can Netflix and chill. PG Netflix chill. Like, actually watch Netflix. I'm not trying to be inappropriate here. He can do whatever he wants. He's done. It's that simple. Okay? Turn off your notifications and be done with it. I wouldn't turn off your notifications unless you really want to. Then go for it. But that's it. So you can be done with it rather quickly if, like, a player that you want gets nominated early, and you win the bid. There are no ties, because we do have a snake draft, so you do have to pay attention a little bit, right? Like, if Hazen and Patrick submit, gotta think, odd number rounds, right? Like, so, like, if Hazen submits a 9th round grade, 9th overall round grade, and Patrick submits a 9th overall round grade, well, then Hazen's going to win that, because on odd numbers, Hazen has the 1st overall pick. So Hazen wins the tiebreak on those, but it goes the opposite for even numbers. Colin's going to win that, because Colin's the champion. So Colin's going to have the 12th overall pick on odds, 1st overall pick on evens. That's how the snake draft works. I think we all are pretty familiar with that, but that's how that's going to work. So your draft order does matter. And that's going to be the tiebreaker. If you can submit the same round, I'm going to look at the draft order. Whoever has the highest draft order is going to win that. Tie goes to the runner at that point. So we're going to go through the list. If I am involved in a bid, again, I will let you know immediately. I'll be like, hey, I want to get involved with this player. I really like this player. I want to get in on this. If that's the case, then I'm probably just going to message Patrick and be like, hey, Patrick, are you in on this guy? Are you going to take him? And if Patrick says yes, then we're just going to keep going down the list. Hey, like, Josh, are you available? Or Daniel, or Trevor, Hazen, whoever. Maybe it's the guy that just got the player, right? Like, so if Hazen wins the bid and I want to get in on him, and Patrick gets in on him or whatever, then I'll probably just be like, hey, Hazen, can you stick around a little bit and just take the bids? Because I know you can't get in on it. And then we'll just go with that. Hazen will take the bids and go from there. So there's a little bit of a trust system with it, of course, but we all trust each other. We're all friends. That's how that's going to work. What's the matter? You got to pull the string. He got to drag his truck, but he didn't pull the string. So the truck's still here. He's kind of upset about that. Yeah, that's okay, buddy. Still looking for stuff. It's kind of cute. So that's how that's going to work, right? And then once we get through the first 11, so like let's say Scott is like biding his time, and it's just like, I really am going to pass on the transfer portal for the most part. Give me like one of the last few players. I don't care. Let's say Scott, and I'm just throwing Scott's name as an example. It could be anybody, any of the 12. Let's say that Scott's the last player. Scott has not received a player yet, and there's only one player to be had. Okay? Now, Scott's not just going to be able to throw in the 17th round grade. Like, he's like, haha, I can throw in my lowest round possible and get this guy. That's awesome. No. This is what I'm going to do. This is executive ordered by me. Again, if we don't like it or think we can have some modifications of it, we'll discuss that for next year. But this is how it's going to work for this year. If you don't like it, this is where me being a tyrannical genius, maybe not genius, but tyrannical dictator comes into effect. I'm going to take the average. Basically, whatever the market dictates, I'm going to look at what the averages are, and that's going to determine what Scott or the last player will pay for that. Or the last owner will pay for that last player. Okay? So if the average grade is like 8.5, then I'll round up. I'll even do traditional rounding. 9th round grade overall then. That's what it's going to be. So you do have to pay attention to that. You do have to understand that that's going to be the case. Again, it's not a perfect system, I admit that, but I think it's going to be fun. And I think it's going to be really beneficial. Let's have that. Once all of the transfer portal players are gone, and once I kind of get a tally, I'll write this stuff down. I'll keep notes of it. I'll go into Fantrax and manually adjust the order. So that